Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Despicable Me 3. Oh boy. So Despicable Me is basically every kid's movie you've ever seen. It's got a story of a guy, Gru, going to an island and finding out about his younger brother, Drew. And they sort of teamed up, and they decided that they're going to go back to villainry, and they're going to do all these evil things. And in the meantime, there's Lucy, who is Gru's recent wife, and she is trying to be a good mother to the three little daughters. And in the meantime, one of the daughters thinks that there's a unicorn nearby, so she goes out and tries to look for it. And it's all these subplots you just sort of intertwine, just like a sitcom TV episode. Because honestly, that's exactly what Despicable Me 3 is. The past movies in this franchise have been alright. They're nothing remarkable, they just sort of exist. Despicable Me 1 was cute, it was fun. Despicable Me 2 sort of made it so that it got a little old. And then of course Minions was absolutely awful. I mean, nobody likes that movie. And so this one came along and no one really cared about it. It was just being released to make money. I mean, I guess some people cared about it because it made like 80 million opening weekend or something like that. So there were some people that cared about it, but for the most part, nobody really wanted to see it. It was just coming out to make more money, and that's exactly what it did. Despicable Me 3, no one cares about it, no one wants it to exist. It literally feels like an episode from a sitcom TV show. You have all these subplots, very cliched, drawn out, stupid subplots that just sort of intertwine with each other. The characters don't really make as much progression. The story is about as complex and developed as your typical sitcom TV episode is. Everything in the movie is just sort of boring. This honestly did not need to exist. It's simply there to make money. And maybe the other ones were also there. Every movie pretty much is made just to make money. But there's also some artistic freedom and some artistic choices being made by the directors and their vision towards this movie. The people at Illumination honestly could not care less. This is one of the most downright lazy movies I have seen in such a long time. Whether it be like the animation, which literally all the characters are always wearing the same exact clothing, because I guess the animators just didn't have time to create new looking animation, or the Minions that are just practically copy-pasted, or like scenes where they're announcing for the place that Gru used to work, or they're announcing a new person that's going to be like the head honcho. There's tons of spy people, and they're practically just rows of copy-pasted people. The people at Illumination, typically they go for making a movie that is very low in budget, that will end up making a lot of money opening weekend, like The Secret Life of Pets, or like The Lorax, or other movies like that, or Sing. They're just really low budget, they're really lazy, and they come out and they make money because they're stupid little kids that drag their parents to it. And unfortunately, Despicable Me at first had a bit more artistic merit than that, and at this point, that's completely gone because everything is so lazy. It's almost annoying. Also, the subplots, the different stories are cliched and just plain up awful and unfunny. That's a big thing with this movie too. Unfunny. Almost nobody in my theater laughed. Everybody was sort of just solemnly sitting there, just watching this movie. There was maybe a little kid that chuckled a couple times, but besides that, nobody was laughing at this movie because nothing funny was happening. Because every joke in it was either just completely unfunny, or it's a joke that we've seen before multiple times in other movies, and that goes back to the laziness. This honestly feels like it was made by a machine that was set up to appeal to little kids as much as possible, to create the most cliche subplots as possible. It doesn't feel like this movie was made by humans, and that can typically mean a good thing. Like certain Andrei Tarkovsky films or certain Kubrick films don't feel like they're made by humans because they exceed normal boundaries of a camera. This honestly feels like it was made by robots that don't really know how to make a good movie or a movie that can be entertained by anyone. They just sort of made a movie that was as cliched as possible because they examined other movies from the genre, and they just sort of tried to make something funny. And they failed so hard. Everything in this movie has no consequence. The stakes are practically non-existent. There's one scene with stakes where they're trying to lift a city out of an area, but besides that, I didn't care about the action because it was also extremely lazy, and also the characters make practically no progression throughout. There's certain scenes in this movie, this could be considered a spoiler, but I saw it coming from a million miles away, where Drew and Gru are angry at each other. One, because Gru wanted to get this diamond for a special reason, and Drew just wanted to be pure villainous and just wanted to steal things. And they end up becoming angry at each other, and in the next scene, they're sort of meddling towards each other, and then in the next scene, they're completely fine. So there was no character progression made. They ended up having the same exact relationship. The relationship between Lucy and the three little girls, the only thing that changes is the girl's perspective on the mom, but the characters themselves don't change, and honestly, it ended up becoming boring. I wanted it to end so badly, and that's not good for this type of movie. Despicable Me 3 is probably the most lazy movie I've seen in theaters in a really long time. It's not the worst movie. There are definitely movies that are a lot worse than this. However, I honestly don't get or understand how this has a fresh score on Rotten Tomatoes, or how some people actually legitimately enjoy this movie, because there's nothing here to enjoy anymore. We've seen it a million times, and at this point, it's just tiring and it's annoying. I will give Despicable Me 3 a 3 out of 10. Please don't go out and watch this movie. Please don't support Illumination, the worst company making movies today. Other than a few others that are like B-list company, this is the worst company that makes movies that make over $100 million. Honestly, it's getting annoying, the fact that this company can be so lazy, can put no effort into anything, and that they can still, stay up and running, that they make so much money. It's honestly terrible, so please, do not see this movie. I typically say, just go see a movie if you want to, just to enjoy it, just to have your own look on it. But this one, I am honestly begging you guys, please do not go see it. Well, anyways, that concludes my review for Despicable Me 3. What are your thoughts on this film? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.